Imagine yourself at a crucial moment in your life, where a single decision could change the fate of many people. Have you ever been in such a situation? Where the pressure is so great that it seems impossible to find a way out. The story of Esther, a queen who changed the fate of a nation, shows us that even in the most challenging situations, faith and courage can turn the impossible into reality. Esther was not just a historical figure, she is a powerful example of how acting with wisdom and determination can not only save lives but also leave a lasting legacy. If you think that an ordinary person cannot make a difference, Esther's story will make you rethink that. She faced one of the greatest crises of the people of Israel and, with unwavering faith, not only survived but triumphed. Want to know how? Let's dive together into this fascinating narrative and discover the secrets that made Esther such an inspiring figure. The Persian Empire and Esther's rise to power. Esther, a young woman of humble origins, lived in a time marked by the grandeur and complexity of the Persian Empire, the most vast empire the world had ever seen. She was chosen among many others to be queen, in a twist of fate that many would say was mere chance, but in reality, it was the beginning of a larger plan to protect the people of Israel. Imagine yourself in Esther's position, a young Jewish woman in a foreign land, being elevated to the position of queen. Not a small responsibility, right? Through her rise, she became a symbol of faith and resilience, demonstrating that regardless of circumstances, there is always a greater purpose to be fulfilled. Esther's journey within the Persian court was not only marked by luxury and wealth but by challenges that tested her faith and courage. Being a queen was not just about titles and privileges, it also involved difficult decisions that could determine the fate of an entire nation. What made her stand out was not just her beauty but her wisdom and ability to act with discernment in moments of extreme pressure. How many times in life are we placed in situations where we need to make quick and strategic decisions? Like Esther, it is in these moments that our true strength is revealed. Esther's rise was not just physical but also spiritual and serves as a powerful example that with faith, it is possible to overcome any challenge. The Persian Empire was vast and full of political intrigues, but Esther, despite being young, quickly understood that her position was more than just a privilege, it was a mission. Her story teaches us that even in the most adverse situations, it is possible to find a way to do good and protect those we love. Perhaps, like Esther, you too have been placed in a unique position with opportunities that at first glance seem daunting. But remember, it was her faith that guided her, and that same faith can be your compass in life. And just as the fate of a nation was in Esther's hands, your destiny may also be waiting for a courageous and wise action from you. The decree of extermination and Esther's courage. The most critical moment in Esther's life came when she discovered the decree of extermination against her people, the people of Israel. Imagine the weight of that discovery, knowing that such a devastating decision was about to be executed and that the only hope of salvation rested on her shoulders. Esther could have remained silent, protecting her position as queen, but instead, she chose to act. Here we see the true nature of her courage. Instead of cowering before the threat, she decided to risk her own life to save many others. How many of us would have such bravery? Esther teaches us that in moments of crisis, faith can be the force that drives us to make difficult but necessary decisions. Esther knew that confronting the king without being summoned could mean her immediate death, but she did not allow fear to paralyze her. For any of us, the idea of confronting a powerful authority can be terrifying. However, Esther used a strategy that combined courage with wisdom. She called the entire people of Israel to fasting and prayer, seeking strength and clarity for what was to come. This is a practical example of how we should act in difficult situations. When facing decisions that can change our lives, we must seek guidance and support, whether through faith, community, or the resources at our disposal. Esther shows us that spiritual preparation can be just as important as physical preparation. But it was not only faith that defined Esther's courage, it was her ability to act at the right moment. She understood that timing was essential and that every second counted in saving her people. And it is interesting how sometimes the greatest battles are not won on battlefields but in the silent and strategic actions of a single person. Esther did more than just survive the crisis, she changed the course of history through her courage and determination. And so, we leave this reflection: are we ready to act when the critical moment arrives? We may not face a decree of extermination, but we all have our challenges. What will we do when it is our turn to make a courageous decision? And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and like the video. Strategy and wisdom to expose Haman. Esther knew that she could not simply confront Haman and expose his evil plans without careful strategy. Instead of acting impulsively, she demonstrated impressive wisdom by carefully planning each step. What Esther did was create a series of banquets for the king and Haman, gaining time and setting the perfect stage to reveal the truth. This teaches us the importance of acting with patience and intelligence, especially in delicate situations. Esther's wisdom is a reminder that victory often does not come through brute force but through cunning and the ability to plan each move precisely. In our lives, how many times do we rush and as a result, miss opportunities to act more effectively? Esther also showed that in certain situations, it is necessary to know when to wait for the right moment to act. She didn't just reveal Haman's plan to the king, she did it at the moment when it would have the greatest impact. It is a powerful lesson about timing and opportunity. Haman was confident that he had the king's favor, but it was precisely this overconfidence that led to his downfall. Esther, on the other hand, demonstrated humility and discernment that allowed her to turn the tables in her favor. This is something we can apply in our own lives. Knowing when and how to act can make all the difference between success and failure. Furthermore, Esther used the most powerful weapon she had, the truth. In a world where lies and manipulation can often seem the easiest paths, Esther reminds us that the truth, when revealed at the right moment, can topple even the most powerful. Haman, who seemed invincible, was unmasked and defeated, not by force but by the revelation of the truth. Esther's story encourages us to be shrewd, patient, and truthful in our actions because, in the end, the truth always prevails. And so, we move on to the next chapter of this story, where we will see how Esther's courage led to Haman's downfall and the salvation of the Jews. Haman's defeat and the salvation of the Jews. Haman's downfall was as sudden as his rise to power, and all of this happened thanks to Esther's courage and wisdom. When the king finally discovered Haman's plan, he was filled with rage and did not hesitate to condemn him to the same fate that Haman had reserved for the Jews. Here we see divine justice operating in a silent but effective manner. Life is full of ironies, and Haman's story is a classic example of how arrogance and wickedness can lead to ruin. Esther, on the other hand, was humble and courageous, and it is precisely because of this that she was able to save her people. This teaches us that true strength is not in position or power but in integrity and faith. The salvation of the Jews was not just a political victory, it was a demonstration of the power of faith and the importance of acting with courage in the face of adversity. When everything seemed lost, Esther showed that it is possible to turn the tide, even in the most desperate situations. And this is a lesson we can apply in our lives. No matter how difficult the situation, there is always a way out for those who maintain faith and courage. Esther's story shows us that with determination and wisdom, we can overcome the greatest challenges and find a path to victory. And so, the Jews, who were on the brink of annihilation, were saved. This makes us think, how many times do we find ourselves in situations where everything seems lost? Esther's story is a powerful reminder that perseverance and faith can change the course of history. By defeating Haman, Esther not only saved her people but also ensured that future generations would remember the power of faith and courage. And with this victory, there follows a moment of celebration and reflection on what has been achieved, but also on what is yet to come. Because, as history teaches us, every victory is just the beginning of a new journey. The celebration of Purim and the importance of faith and courage. With Haman's defeat and the salvation of the Jews came the time to celebrate, and thus the festival of Purim was born, a holiday that is still celebrated by Jews today as a reminder of the miraculous salvation that was granted to them. Purim is not just a celebration of a past victory but a constant reminder of the importance of faith and courage in our lives. Esther, who started as a simple young woman, became a central figure in Israel's history, and her courage is celebrated every year as an example of how faith can move mountains. Purim is more than a holiday, it is a celebration of the human spirit and the ability to overcome evil with good. The celebration of Purim involves joy, sharing, and reflection on the challenges that have been overcome. Like Esther, each of us faces challenges and moments of decision throughout our lives. Purim invites us to look at these moments with gratitude and to recognize the importance of faith in overcoming adversity. Esther's story teaches us that no matter how difficult the circumstances, faith can give us the strength we need to win. And this annual celebration is an opportunity to reflect on our own lives and how we can apply these teachings in our daily lives. But Purim is also a lesson on the importance of not forgetting the lessons of the past. Esther's courage and the Jews' victory over Haman are a reminder that even in the darkest situations, the light of faith can guide us. As we celebrate Purim, we are reminded that Esther's story is not just an ancient tale but a timeless message about the importance of courage, wisdom, and faith. And so, as we celebrate, we also prepare for the challenges that are still to come, knowing that with faith and courage, we can face and overcome them, just as Esther did. Now that you know Esther's story, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Esther showed us that courage, combined with faith and wisdom, can change the course of history. And you? Are you ready to act with the same determination? Think about the challenges you face today. Have you been taking advantage of the opportunities that arise, or have you been letting fear take hold of you? Esther teaches us that each of us has the power to transform our reality, all it takes is the courage to take the first step. And speaking of steps, how about starting by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications? That way, you can keep learning, getting inspired, and perhaps becoming the next person to change the course of your own history. And for more content like this, click on the video that appears on the screen.